What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Blade Dragons podcast. I'm Alex.
I'm Elliot.
And I'm Jacob.
The first thing that we're going to start with is the World Championship announcement from Takara Tomy. Now, they mentioned this in their big direct that they did, so to speak, and they showed off the Asia tournament as well as sort of the GP tournament system that they had, where they did the B4, the G3, and then there's the G2, G1, and then the GP, which is Grand Prix. That's coming at the end. I wasn't sure if that was related to the World Championships and like the Asia tournament, but it certainly looked very cool, and definitely excited to see another World Championship happening.
Oh, that's very exciting because I think the last one was, I don't know, 5 years ago or something. I don't know. But the competitive side of Beyblade is something very cool. And from the beginning we saw Beyblade X, Alex and I were always like, oh my gosh, this is actually like a competitive sport, that there's customization. So it'd be really cool to see what the new competitive meta is going forward once these actually start rolling out.
Yeah, whenever I saw it, because there was like that trailer, right, where you had like the chef from like Italy started to rip a Beyblade. You saw like the little kid making combos in his room. It said like World Beyblade Championship or World Tournament or whatever, and they said 20 like XX. So it's like I don't think they, from what I saw, they didn't really commit to a worldwide like year. Probably because they want to see, before setting a major plan like that, it's probably really expensive. They want to see how the launch is for like the Western side of it. Because if by chance Beyblade X flops here in the States, which like cross your fingers and like hope it does not happen, they don't really want to commit to that. But they definitely gave a lot of information on like the Asia, like the big like Asia tournament, which I assume that's like adds in like Singapore and like Hong Kong and Korea as well, right? That's not just Japan?
I would assume so. They just said Asia, so it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, how far? Because Asia's kind of big. Are they including, like, Russia and the Middle East and India and, like, other parts of it? Or is it, like, exclusively Eastern Asia?
Yeah. I assume it's just whatever product is, like, directly licensed by them. So, like, the Middle East is a completely... Like, they're going to be, like, a few years behind. Like, I don't know what company... Like, Young Boy or something? I don't know what company did it for Burst. But if it's like anything that's like Hasbro licensed, I don't think is included. So I think it's just like Japan, and it's like direct, like whatever encapsulates whatever the word is. I don't know whatever the word is. I'm a Beyblade YouTuber. I don't do all this English.
Yeah, we don't read. Yeah, I think probably Japan. I don't know what it's gonna be like for China, because China kind of doesn't let a lot of outside properties in without like a lot of scrutinization and changing, or in some cases they just reach out and are like, hey, make it like this, and then we'll have it.
Was China in any of the other previous world championships?
I am not sure on that one. I feel like maybe, but
interesting.
Then again, I don't know.
Yeah. But that's exciting. I really like their formats. They talked about having... Because I tried to watch through the video again, because there was a lot of talking in that direct without a lot of visual stuff. Like, there was a lot of talking, and it's hard to... Without any visuals, it's hard to piece something together. But one thing I know that they mentioned was an open circuit. So, like, they have, like, their younger age group, like they always had, that, like, maxes out at, like, a certain, like, preteen age. And then they have an open, which is for adults. So I assume there's not going to be, like, a little 8-year-old taking on someone like me. I mean, I'd win, and I wouldn't even care, I'd be ruthless with it. But they did. I think I want to say they did mention that, but they didn't show any visuals for it. But the way that they handle their tournaments is pretty cool. So
yeah, it's a lot more professionalized over there.
Yeah.
I forget who said it, but I think like estimate is like all of the stuff is going to be happening like 2025, 2026, which would make sense. By then we'll probably be around like season 2, and we'll have at the minimum like all of season 1 in the US. We'll probably be in the middle of season 2 when it actually takes place. It'll be probably similar to like the time frame of when the Metal Fight 1 took place, because that was like in the middle of Metal Masters. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar situation for Beyblade X.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not, because it's gonna be. I mean, it depends on how like popular it is, but typically Beyblade had. I mean, for Beyblade Burst it was like super long, but it had probably 3 really, really, really good years. Or 2017, 2018, 2019, and after everything, and then afterwards it started to kind of slow descent. So yeah, that 2025, 2026 would be pretty perfect.
Get it right in the peak.
I'd love to see how many people show up to a Beyblade tournament. That'd be so fun if it was like an actual popular thing that was like had a few hundred people or more, and it's like you actually got hype fans. That'd be such a fun environment. You just got a jumbotron. It's funny looking back at like the early 2000s Bay tournaments, just kids literally screaming at their tops from like 2 inches away, like spin, spin, spin. An open bracket. That would be hilarious to just see how many adults enjoy Beyblade.
And kind of unrelated, but I watched a video recently of the 2004 like grand final or whatever, and some of the stuff they did for like the action, not just like for fun, but to determine who the actual like winner was insane. They had like a massive stadium. They had the 2 people launch down like an acrylic tube. So these plastic Jin Beyblades would like fall down a tube and land in this giant dish. And there was like no contact. They were just circling around. I was like, who thought of this? That's the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen. That is so stupid. And if I was like, imagine being in that grand final tournament. You're like, dude, I spent like $200 or $300 to get here. I mean, inflation. I don't know what money was like back then, right? $200, $300 to get here. You know, my mom is there, my dad is there. We got like a 2-night hotel here in New York City. We got to deal with like the rats of New York City, and it was determined by shooting down an acrylic tube. That's the dumbest thing. I was so shocked. I was shocked when I saw that. That was crazy.
That is nuts. I think that'd be like a really cool idea, having like a big stadium and everyone like shoots down a tube. If it was like a ginormous battle royale, and it was like you have like 10 to I don't know, 50, however big it was, like all launching it at the same time. Like that would be cool. But just like a one-on-one with like I assume it was like relatively like maybe like that big ish maybe.
Have you seen those big? I mean, I think it was bigger. I think it was bigger than that, because there was like an outer circle and then there was something in like the middle, right? But the bays wouldn't go on the thing in the middle. They'd kind of just like circle around. The footage of it's definitely pretty interesting. It's fun to watch, but times have changed in 20 years.
The fact that it's been 20 years is just nuts, but
I know.
so that, yeah, the World Championships for Beyblade X should definitely be very interesting. Hopefully we'll get clued into that sometime next year, if not 26, and also by then hopefully we'll have more engagement on YouTube. But
oh yeah,
we'll see what happens. I think X will do pretty good. Kind of brings all the popular parts of everything together and makes it work well enough.
yeah.